Welcome to this week's game of the week, and it had to be, of course, the Hull derby. Hull KR taking on Hull FC in what is sure to be a thriller at Craven Park. Sold out for this game. So let's remind ourselves of what happened at the MKM Stadium earlier in the season. Round 8 is Rivals Round in Super League as Hull KR come to the MKM Stadium. Both of these two teams had perfect starts after 2 rounds, both winning those games. However, both have dropped off in recent weeks, albeit KR won last time out. Players to look out for, Jordan Abdul and Jake Clifford, who are both in great form.
And then the kick is one for Kane Lynette maybe to challenge. It's batted back, it's still there, and it could be the first of the game for Ryan Hall. Jack Smith will go to the video ref, that's for sure, because there was all sorts happening in the build-up to that.
So that's touch there, we keep playing through. Keep rolling this through, please. That goes backwards in relation to the ground. And through to grounding, please.
Yep, first blood to the Robins.
Jordan Lane in there as well, and after the ball's gone, fashioned. Mikey Lewis just exchanged a word, and they're still chuntering away in back play. Meanwhile, Shaw has let that one bounce, and it's been picked up, and Obertic is going to capitalise.
So it's played out. He falls off the tackle there, so we can play on through to grounding, please. Thank you, that's all I need.
Jake Clifford is struggling to get to his feet.
It's Batchel, not Mikey Lewis who falls off, but this now. From behind and dropping the hips. And that's what catches the ankle underneath. I can understand why he's angry with that as well.
And James Batchelor a bit mystified by that. What was he supposed to do? Half-time approaching. Brad Dwyer fancies it, and Dwyer will try his hardest. There's not so much of him, but he's battling his way. And Suato Su comes hurtling in low down. And they didn't like that, Hull FC. And now it is getting feisty. It is getting feisty. Scott Taylor's getting involved against his former team.
Well, it's late, and the attacker, Brad Dwyer, is in a vulnerable position there.
But Hull KR with a big opportunity here, and Batchelor will make the most of it. A try that could take this game further away from Hull FC does take this game further away from Hull FC. First points of the second half. Here is Coote. They might not only coming back if there's more points from Ryan Hall. A second try from Ryan Hall. Back in field to Coote. What a wonderful try from Hull KR. Coote's finishing off, courtesy of Ryan Hall's generosity. Back-to-back tries. Here comes the Robins again. Here comes Ryan Hall again, and Hall uses his strength. Or does he? Jack Smith just taking a moment before he awards this try. Has Ryan Hall got his second of the game?
Thank you. I've seen all I need, I make a decision.
Here they come again, Sean Cannydale, and here he comes again. Ryan Hall back on the inside to Mikey Lewis, and Lewis will celebrate this time. Lewis salutes the crowd. The crowd salutes Mikey Lewis. Hull KR are running away with this one. Mikey Lewis with the try. Ryan Hall again the provider. Lewis was on his inside, and there is a big red and white party going on. As Batchelor plays the ball. Here is Jordan Abdul. Abdul, Lewis's pass, and Ryan Hall is in once again for his hat-trick try. And no doubt about that one. Hall finishing off and taking Hull KR to 40 points.
Nobody could have foreseen that. The Robins 40, Hull FC 0. A sensational performance from Hull KR in this one. The left edge of their attack was on fire, with Ryan Hall really impressing throughout the game, as too did Mikey Lewis. This one will sting. Hull is red and white after rivals round.
So a real humbling for Hull FC at home against the Robins in round number 8. That was the 6th defeat on the spin for FC. They would go on to lose 7 in a row. As for Hull KR, they backed up from the win the week before against the Leeds Rhinos and got back to winning ways in some style indeed. So what's happened since then? Well, look at the form guide over the last 5 rounds. Hull KR at the moment are really doing it tough, not getting many wins, just one win against Wakefield Trinity, 28 points to 12, 2 rounds back. As for Hull, a little bit in and out for them, as it has been all season, but they come into this with slightly better form over the last 5 rounds. 2 very impressive wins, of course, one against Warrington Wolves at Magic Weekend, and then, of course, that one against St Helens, 34 points to 6, that was quite sensational. League positions, well, 7th and 9th. This, you do feel, is a critical week for both sides. If Hull KR win this, they have a chance of going back into the top 6 at the expense of Salford, depending on what happens at the Salford Community Stadium. As for Hull FC, if they were to lose this, well, they're going to be a minimum of 6 points off the top 6 with only 9 rounds remaining, and perhaps that would be a bridge too far. Hull FC are desperate to win this one. Hull FC have got better as the season's gone on. The average point scored, as you can see, goes the way of the Robins, 20 to 17.5. As for the conceding, as you can see, that's been a massive problem for FC all year. 25.7 taking on 17.5. The 2 men are in form, 2 men that we need to keep an eye on in this match. Of course, Mikey Lewis and Jake Clifford. And look at the odds. 8 to 13 on Hull KR, despite their run of form. As for Hull FC, you can get 7 to 5, which seems quite generous considering recent games. So we've said there that the 2 men to look out for, Mikey Lewis and, of course, Jake Clifford. This is Lewis's season thus far. 17 played, won the 9, 8 tries and 7 assists, 15 4-pointers have gone through the hands one way or the other of Mikey Lewis, which is quite impressive indeed. 44 tackle busts, 8 clean breaks. And we know that Mikey Lewis is a running halfback, 1,266 metres, an average gain of 5.9. And what we would say about Mikey Lewis is that perhaps his best game of the season came against Hull FC. That's right. It was a sensational performance that day against the Black and Whites. Of course, a try for him. 3 tries set up on the day. He did 3 tackle busts on the day as well. He was absolutely sensational. Ran for 139 metres off 20 carries. A real quality performance from Lewis against FC at the MKM, and they'll be wanting him, of course, to do that yet again on Sunday afternoon. A player that has really caught the eye across the league this season, Jake Clifford. A lot of rumours, of course, surrounding that he may be being touted of a return at the end of this campaign to Australia, such has been his form. As you can see there, he has played 1 less than Mikey Lewis. And we mustn't forget, in that game at the MKM, Jake Clifford went off. That was a critical moment. They also, of course, were missing some key personnel that day. Of course, the troops have come back in time for this one at Craven Park on Sunday at 12 o'clock. But you can see there, 6 tries and 14 assists for Jake Clifford. 20 tries have gone through his hands in 16 games. Absolutely sensational. He's been brilliant with a kicking boot, as well as as we all know, as the season has gone on. He is in fine form indeed, in front of goal. Without doubt, based on the fact that KR are without Jordan Abdul, the kicking advantage certainly goes the way of the Black and Whites. 40 goal kicks this season for Jake Clifford. He is doing great things with the boot. As you can see, 38 tackles, not as many as Mikey Lewis, but then again, he doesn't run as much as Mikey Lewis. He just tends to be in the right place at the right time, which is, of course, a deadly thing to be able to do. 919 is total meters. And we've seen time and time again this season, Clifford at his sparkling best. He was absolutely brilliant against the Warrington Wolves at Magic Round, and against St Helens a couple of weeks ago. He was quite simply, alongside Truman, unplayable for the Black and Whites. These 2 players, without doubt, are ones to look out for. And if whoever comes out top in terms of their performance on the day may just swing it to their side's advantage. Let's take a look at the two teams in a bit more detail on a head-to-head basis. As you can see there, Hull KR, more tries for them this season. Average meters per carry, absolutely all square. There's not much in total meters at all. The tackle busts are very, very close as well. Clean breaks, surprisingly, go in the way of Hull FC when you consider how many times the Robins did clean breaks in that game earlier in the season that we saw a few moments ago. Couldn't be closer, could it? Look at the offloads, 167 apiece. Tackles, well, more of those have been done by Hull FC, but when you consider they went on a 7-game losing streak at the start of the season, perhaps that's not that surprising. A lot of defence had to be done in those earlier rounds. Errors, again, very, very close indeed. Penalty count, very close. Yellow cards, more going the way of Hull KR. Their indiscipline at times this season has been a real problem for them. Both sides will want to keep full numbers on the field of play for this one, as I'm sure both coaches will be saying they need a full complement to get one over on their neighbours. So who have been the star performers for these two teams thus far in Super League this year? Well, let's find out. So within their numbers, we can see how important some of these players are. Ryan Hall, absolutely pivotal to the Robins. It has to be said. The goal kicking, as we discussed a little bit earlier, clearly demonstrated there when you compare Rowan Milnes to Jake Clifford. All in all, some great performers in that. And of course, Jordan Abdul not there, the top assister for the Robins this season. So let's now take a look at a key battle in this game. On the graphic, we see George King and we see Chris Satai, but actually it's the forward lines that could be so crucial in this game. We would expect George King, Sam Luckley and Reece Kennedy to have massive minutes in this game for Hull KR. You can see there their averages per game in terms of meters, carries and their averages. When you compare that, however, to Hull FC, it is actually, as you can see, very close. Satai, no surprising, the key one in this at 8.3 average for him, better than anybody else on those two graphics. However, when you consider how these front rows perform week in, week out, it could be worth 48 meters to the black and whites. That's how much more meters these players make for the black and whites over the Robins week in, week out. It is the centre ground that is so important in games like this. Yes, the edges are going to be crucial, but down the middle is where this game is going to be won and lost. And perhaps that's where FC will gain the advantage. Of course, yet again, we must reiterate, Clifford should play the full 80 minutes in this one. That in itself could be a game changer. So, as always, on Tuesday night Super League Raw Weekly, we discussed our predictions for this game. So let's see what was said.
So the game of the week this week, it had to be, didn't it? The Hull derby, a city divided once again. Obviously a massive, massive win for Hull KR in rivals round this year when, well, let's quite frankly say it, they absolutely demolished Ep for breakfast. Say whatever you want, the Hull FC. But this is a different Hull FC team now, getting into a bit of a groove. Tony Smith getting his thumbprint on it. And here's one for you. Before you come in here, Reggie, myself, Gary Schofield and the Fans Forum all see this as a black and white win on the weekend. We actually see Hull FC as the winners. I've got 9-17 FC. The Fans Forum and Gary Schofield a little closer, 1-8. For those people who are disappointed over us not really talking too much about the Saints Warrington game. Everybody pretty much thinks that Saints will win that by 18 plus.
Yeah.
So go on, mate. Hull FC.
Yeah, we've not really had a shock of the round, have we, yet?
We haven't.
And everybody would think that Hull would kind of quite easily win this.
Well, the form's with them, isn't it?
And what?
The form was with
Form's
FC.
with them. Tony Smith is with them. Hull KR have hit kind of a bad patch at the wrong time coming into this game. As I say, there hasn't been a shock this round yet. So I'm going to go Hull 9-17.
Yeah.
No shocks yet, I'm afraid. No, I think it's going to be a weekend of no shocks. We've had Wakefield.
No shocks at all.
We've had Wakefield, providing the shocks over the last couple of weeks. I think this week it'll all go to form.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
I think Hull will have a little bit too much. I think Hull KR probably got too many out. Hull are running into sparked by Magic Weekend.
Yeah.
They seem to have found the mojo since Magic Weekend, and I think and is this what time's this on TV?
It's big day, Sunday.
Same time as Warrington Women versus Saints Women at the Halliwell Jones.
Shocking.
Absolute shocker.
So which are you going FC by?
9-17.
9-17, same as me. Right.
Yeah. So a lot of love for Hull FC by the fans forum. Gary Schofield, myself and Greg all seeing this the way of FC and them getting a little bit back on the Robins from that mauling earlier in the campaign. Another key battle in this game is going to be the right edge of the Hull FC defence against the left edge of the attack of Hull KR. In that first game at the MKM, 5 of the 7 tries that the Robins scored was down the left-hand side of their attack. Hall, Mikey Lewis, of course, Lachlan Coote, who, of course, will not be playing in this one due to his retirement. But that left edge of Hull KR ran riot at the MKM Stadium. So Tumavari and Darnell McIntosh need to be bang at it on that right edge. We know that's the way that they prefer to go. Sean Kenny-Dowell's side, the Ryan Hall side, and of course the Mikey Lewis side. That's the left edge is key to every single win that Hull KR get, and that is why the likes of Carlos and Darnell need to be ready. So nothing more to be said other than let's listen to the coaches and also Chris Satai ahead of this one.
I knew they were passionate, but in terms of, I've experienced some great derbies over in the Roosters and the Rabbitohs, and I was involved in the Dragons and Sharks games. But I mean, the crowd here is obviously twice as loud, 3 times as loud. But yeah, they're great games. They're exciting games, and as I say, we're fortunate to get that first one. No doubt they'll be coming here to try and square up, but again, we'll just focus on what we can do.
Different players will get different motivations. Some of the local boys more than the boys from not from this area will use the derby as the big motivator. Some will just, it's a competitive game. Some it's another opportunity to pick up 2 points, and whatever it is. My job is to get my team to play well. My job, no matter who we're playing. So I ask them to play to the best and try to get them to play to the best every week. So I can't ask them to do or try any harder. It's all, good professionals, I think, go out there to try and do their best on each week. And then the better of the professionals who do that, they're the stars, they're the superstars, they're the ones that we want to coach, they're the ones that, and the ones who aren't there yet, we hope they get to that stage. So I just keep asking these guys to go out and perform to their best, and if that's good enough, well, great. And if that's not, we've got to work harder.
Yeah, I know Tex and Jake, well, really good players, quality players. There were some comments made, when they first come over. I'm sure has got some players excited, for the week ahead. But I've got a lot of respect for those 2 boys. They're quality players. There's no doubt that Jake's on top of his game. he came over here to gain more confidence as a player, and to build his game, and there's no doubt that he's doing that at Hull FC. Texas have been unfortunate to have the hamstring issue that he's had, but he started the season really well. And there's no doubt with Jake there that they're more stable in the halves. He's a very good runner of the football. So they'll be in a good spot, but they've got some good options there.
Yeah, definitely. I think that's what we're after. You know, we're just taking it one game at a time, and we're fully focused on the derby, seeing how that goes. Yeah.
Obviously, we all know what happened last time, but going to their place, it's going to be hostile, intimidating. You know, they're going to be at you from minute one. Does that excite you as a player? Like, do you get revved up by that?
Yeah, of course. You know, they came in numbers to the MKM. You know, so I'd expect that there'll be a full house over there at their home ground. And but I'm excited for the challenge. You know, they've been up there in the top half of the table for the whole year, and they're above us. So we got to make sure we play well and do the little things right.
I love what I do, so I get excited, to be honest, every week. But there's no doubt, like when you turn up to a derby game like we did last time, it's like, wow, this is a little bit different. They are, you know, you can play it down and say it's just another game, but they're a special occasion, and I like to treat it that way because, you know, whenever it is, but when you look back on your career and you have memories, you're always going to look to the moments that stood out the most, and these are moments. And so far this year, there's no doubt that game that we played last time, that's the best moment for this team from this year. We've had some good moments, but in terms of, you know, the build up and what it's all about, and the performance, it was a memorable game. So we'll try and create that this week, but we also want to enjoy it because they're special occasions. We're lucky to do it. I'm lucky to be head coach of this club doing it. The players are lucky to be playing in this game. So there's a responsibility there to go out and do the right thing about it.
So both camps seem to be ready for this one. These were the 21-man squads that were announced this week. So Ethan Ryan, of course, back for Hull KR. No real surprise in the centres. You'd expect Copper Chicken, Sean Kenny-Dow to be in there. Ryan Hall, of course, on the wing. On the other wing, of course, for Hadji Aha and Tanguy Zenon back with the Catalan Dragons. That's a bit of a blow. So maybe Jack Walker will return for the Robins for this one. You would also expect maybe Lewis Senior in with a shout on the wings. As for the halfback combination, it's going to be Rowan Milnes and Mikey Lewis. I think there's no doubt about that. Up front, we've already looked at who's going to be operating in and around the pack. Kane Lynette, of course, will be in there, but a big blow for the 21-man squad of the Robins. No Elliot Minchella. He has been superb all season, and he will be a big miss going into this derby. As for the 21-man squad of Hull KR, well, a little bit more like, isn't it? A lot of bodies now coming back. Hoy back there at full-back. Davy Litton, he played in the reserves on Saturday for the FC, so he will more likely not be featuring, of course, not even mentioned in the 21-man squad. Hoy will be at full-back. Swift and McIntosh will, of course, be on the wings. Turmavari and Sutcliffe in the centre. Sutcliffe having a great season as well. Truman, really impressive since his return. Clifford, we've already discussed. The front row, yes, Danny Houghton, of course, back to his sparkling best. He really is pushing hard for that new contract at Hull FC. Savelio, the departing Savelio, probably expected to move on at the end of the season. And Jordan Lane, of course, Brad Fash, who has operated quite a lot out of prop forward. Will he remain in loose forward? Personally, we think here at Super League Raw, that is his best position at loose forward. He does more damage there. He gets his hands on the ball more there, and he can be very good. But of course, with the likes of Cater back, you never know. Jamie Shaw, an option at fullback. We don't see that happening. Of course, Scott Taylor, a welcome return as well. He'll be on the bench, or at the start of this game, you'd have thought maybe, as opposed to starting, we'd expect Sau and maybe Satai to be there. So really, really interesting game, this one. Both missing a couple of players, but in the main, I think of the 21-man squads, Hull's looking pretty strong. KR missing some big players, of course. Lachlan Coote retiring, that's a big hammer blow for them. No Abdul, no Minchella. So, you know, the Robins, perhaps underdog coming into this based on form, even though the league position, of course, favours them. At this moment in time, taking everything into account, you can see why perhaps everybody was going the way of Hull FC in those predictions. You're not going to be anywhere. If you are a Hull KR or a Hull FC fan, well, those tickets are like gold dust, aren't they, in Hull at the moment? It's like Charlie in the Chocolate Factory. Have you got that golden ticket to go to this game? But if you haven't, there's only one place to be. 11:30 on Sky Sports Arena. It all begins for a 12 o'clock kickoff at Craven Park. Take your seats, have your Sunday dinner, and watch quality rugby league. Don't forget to join us for next week's Game of the Week. Here comes the trailer. Have a great one, everyone. For all the post-game analysis of this fantastic game, keep your eye out for In the Sheds, Hull KR against Hull FC. Be sure to subscribe, comment, and like our page. Tell all your friends about us, and we'll see you next time for Game of the Week.